came up of our No Moss tour. And we also are joined by Vince DeJohnny down here, longtime VFP. Let's see, let's get the pizza out of the way, guys.
We need pizza. Jim and I have another event to go to.
Yeah.
Shortly.
Well, I think we can cut this one short, but I'll let Jim go ahead and talk to you about what we've accomplished so far and what we're aiming to accomplish.
So what we've done so far is we started with San Diego with the Miramar Air Show with Gary Butterfield. We weren't successful in stopping the Blue Angels from showing up, but we were very successful in stopping the Blue Angels from showing up in Salinas and Monterey, where was the next stop. Of course, a little help with the government shutdown.
Take credit for it, though.
But at any rate, we've in addition to that, we had a showing of the movie The Earth's Greatest Enemy, both in Northridge, California, which is just north of LA, and also in Monterey. Really hope we'd had more people there, but we had some, and they were very enthusiastic about the movie. And if you have a chance to see it, Earth's Greatest Enemy, Abby Martin and Mike Preisner, and it'll be showing up in Oakland as the next place this coming Monday. So right now we're in, as Cindy said, we're in Berkeley, and we'll be just shortly here in about an hour, we'll be talking to a group at University of California, Berkeley, and on a sort of a panel discussion, Vince DeJohnny and I, who you'll speak to next, and then we'll have a showing of the. Then we're going to be generally protesting militarism and climate change, since not only do we manage to shut down the Blue Angels, we shut down the whole Fleet Week. So I think just the Canadian ships are present. Is that true, Vince? Just the
Canadian airplanes and the civilian so-called Patriot Airport.
Okay. So the Canadians will be here, but I'll let Vince talk about that. And next we go, we're having a showing here in the theater in Oakland, again, of the Earth's Greatest Enemy. And then up to Sacramento and Davis, down to Fresno, and then we finish up in UC Santa Barbara. Vince, did you want to say something?
Well, I can talk about what we're doing in the Bay Area. Even with the government shutdown, it's basically canceled everything that the U.S. Navy does in the Fleet Week. So they have the Blue Angels, they have a couple other flying groups, and a dozen or so ships that dock and they do tours on. So all that's shut down, but we decided we would go ahead with our events. So Tuesday we did a group that's allied with us, 1,000 grandmothers, did a banner drop on the freeway. Yesterday we did Jim and I and another member of Vets for Peace, Lou Flores, did a talk at San Francisco State University, with kind of a teaching with some students that I've been working with. And then tonight we have another one. And then tomorrow we have a public event in San Francisco. And Saturday and Sunday we're going to be leafleting and being out with our banners in San Francisco, where the Canadians and the Patriot Air Force are flying. I'm sorry, I want to crack up when I say that, but that's what they're calling themselves. They're a bunch of civilians, and I don't know if they're jets or prop jobs, but anyway, so that should be very interesting. And whatever warships are showing up from South America, I believe. So it's kind of Fleet Week light that we're having this year, and hopefully it'll be Fleet Week gone in a few years. And then Monday night again, we're having at the Grand Lake Theater in Oakland a showing of Earth's Greatest Enemy, and then Jim is leaving, and I'm going to do something else because I'm not going to go with him, unfortunately.
So the inspiration of this particular exercise, this tour, was after Donald Trump was reelected. I was sitting there in the morning, sort of in a daze. You know, the Climate Crisis and Militarism Project, we've given hundreds of slide presentations, most of them via Zoom, but some are in person. And I've taught seminars and things like that, but nothing seemed to be catching. So I thought, well, why don't we go out and try and talk to people in their communities? So the only way I could think of doing that, I know the Veterans of Peace has a golden rule boat, but that was only going to be hitting the coast, and we didn't want to just hit the coast. And plus, I'm not a sailor, so we rented an RV, and which is a good place to put banners on, and we're going, like I described, from place to place. And when we show up in a given area, we put the banners up. But we've also taped messages onto our RV so people can see them while we're traveling between cities. So the military air shows were sort of a focal point. There are 3 air shows in California during this 3-week period, but then we're hitting universities also. But again, we just wanted to hit places where there were people that might not have been thinking so much about militarism and climate change. And again, it's the name of the tour is Wake Up to the Climate Crisis and No More Military Air Shows. Is there an example of this exaggerated use of militarism and emotion and emissions and things like that? Cindy, do you have any questions for us or what?
Is Gregory with us, or has he had to leave? Gregory.
Yes, yes, I'm here.
One thing that we've been trying to do while we're doing this project is connect with the UU churches. So Gary's UU in San Diego, and we held a film showing down there at the UU church. And then when we were coming back up, we stopped at the UU in, where was the UU that we stopped in?
Monterey.
Monterey. Oh, a lovely, lovely church. And that Sunday, the minister invited us to stay for their social justice meeting. And we told them what they were doing, and we told them about UUJEC. So they were very accommodating. And since Gregory is in the Bay Area, I've really leaned on you, sorry, Gregory, to kind of connect us as best you could with the churches. Although Vince tells me that he's already working with one of the UU churches here. You want to tell him which one?
We've worked with the San Francisco UU before. We've given several presentations there over the time.
And what I forgot which UU church you were with, Gregory.
So I attend the San Francisco one, and I've definitely attended some Veterans for Peace events at the forum.
Oh, so you are at the same church that Vince is connected with already. Is that what you're saying?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Steve and I did, and Janet did a presentation there last summer.
The other thing is, here, let's see. Excuse me. The other thing is, Gregory has signed up for the film Earth's Greatest Enemy 5 weeks ago, if I got that right, Gregory.
Yeah.
And it is so phenomenal. I'm really hoping that what we're talking about in planning our conference, that we can get that film and show it. I think it's phenomenal. They took 5 years to make the film, flew all around the world to gather footage that's absolutely phenomenal, showing the damage of the US military on the planet, and also some of the resistance movements that people in other countries are having to do that. So I want to shut up for a minute here and let Gregory talk to us about whatever he has to say about the UUs and also this film, because he's known about it and looking forward to it.
Yeah, Abby Martin is a dynamite. I'm pretty sure she's from the Bay Area. Anytime I can claim that, I try to. I don't know. Yeah, so the UUs in San Francisco are really excited about this. So are those in Oakland. The Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in Berkeley, right there. I've been in talks with Hank, who's a member there. So yeah, the whole Bay Area is excited about this film. And Sydney and I are going to get dinner beforehand too, so it'll be fun to finally connect in person. But for
Well,
me,
this is, oh, sorry, go ahead, Gregory, if you have something else to say, please.
I was going to say this is something that a lot of the liberal climate movement ignores, is the international aspect of how war is not something that's impacting us here. It's impacting the world. I mean, it's impacting us in the sense that we're in an interconnected web, but not in the sense that it's so direct. And so people ignore this and they let it skate by. And I think it's really important to make this connection because we know that the military is the most polluter, most detrimental thing into the world, because it's not just the pollution of these jets, it's the bombing and the destruction of the land, and it's so much. But yeah, this is really powerful, and so thank you for your witness, Cindy.
Lucy always wants us to include action items, and so I have several. One thing the UJC is already doing, which is what we're doing, that is getting signatures for 350.org's call to stop these air shows. So I thank you all for that, and we are getting those. The other thing is, I think we should all try to consider when we do our conference planning, what we might want to do in terms of this film and this whole issue. I think, Jim, do you have a few minutes to stay with us, or?
Yes.
Do you want to add anything? The impacts of the shows, or?
Well, the movie really emphasizes, of course, Abby and Mike Preisner have, their organization is Empire Files. And it really points out the fact that, we're the only country that has 800 military bases. China's, 10 or less. Russia might have 20, depends upon how you're counting them. We have, different segments of the earth cordoned off as, AFRICOM and CENTCOM and all these places. And we spend over 2 times more than what China does, about 10 times more than what Russia does. But the big thing is all this militarism really discourages cooperation between governments. And one of the things so Abby goes out on what is known as RIMPAC. If you don't know what RIMPAC is, it's it is an exercise of the nations that line the Pacific. So she went out there as an observer, a journalist, and they were touting, the admirals were touting how much cooperation they had between all those countries. And she questions, well, if all these countries can get together for this shoot 'em up exercise where they blow up whales and dolphins and ships and, whatever, and cruise around, play war games, why can't we get together to act on a real enemy, which is climate change? And I think that's very poignant. And the last thing, which is really the scariest, if you're going to go see the movie, Gregory, is that the end part is where she brings it back into the United States and shows like Cop City in Atlanta, where I'm not very good with strange names, but Tortuga, or the gentleman, they announced that he was, I'm not sure this is correct, the first environmentalist that had been murdered by U.S. police or National Guard, where he was shot 57 times, and the autopsy indicated that he was in a cross-legged and his arms extended in peace, and he was shot by the military. If you don't know this, they were occupying the woods, trying to keep the local government from making a cop city to do training for essentially what Donald Trump is talking about now, using cities as a training centers for our military. But it's an excellent movie. We need to talk to Mike and Abby about using this on the next tours next year when we go to less woke places like other than California, which is not as woke as I thought it was, to Ohio and Georgia and South Carolina and other places that I definitely know is not very woke. Yeah. So again, if you had a chance to watch the movie, please do. And if not, look for it in the near future. And I see we have Paul Cox on the line.
Paul is on Veterans for Peace National Board, and I asked him if he would join us because he's been working down in this area for a long time and may have a lot to share with us. So, Paul, do you want to go ahead and say whatever you would like?
I hadn't really planned to say much, but actually, because this weekend is Fleet Week, Fleet Week light. The Navy is not going to be there, and the Blue Angels aren't going to be there, and I think we can declare victory. But there will be other people showing up, even though it's not we can't claim that we shut down the government, but hey, whatever works. Friday night at the Veterans Building in San Francisco, that's 401 Van Ness right at Civic Center. You may think of it as the Herbst Theater, but it's the Veterans Building. In room 210, I believe, we are going to have a teach-in about climate crisis and militarism that Gary and I'm not sure who's speaking. You'll have to inform us.
Yeah, well, maybe Gary would like to jump in. There's been 2 showings of Earth's Greatest Enemy in San Diego, and Abby Martin was present at one of them. Gary, do you want to give us feedback on that?
Yeah, Abby came down to San Diego and gave 2 showings of her movie at local universities, San Diego State University and the University of San Diego. And I have to say that both places sold out to, I think, 150 to 200 people, mostly students. And she really made the connection of what's happening in Gaza and the visuals that we see from the destruction, utterly wiping out that strip of land and people, to what's happening worldwide. And emotionally, it really connected with the audience and the students, and it really energized a lot of people to get involved with this topic of military being the worst polluter on earth. So like Jim and Cindy have said, you got to see the movie. And I'd also urge you in your own UU congregation, like we did in San Diego, arrange a showing. I'm sure that's going to happen in the future. And if not, Cindy and Jim and I and others do a presentation. I did one to UUJEC last year, and it's something to help educate your congregation about this whole topic. Go see the movie.
So to make sure we don't confuse, the movie will be shown not Friday night at the Veterans Building. It'll be shown on Monday at the Grand Lake Theater in Oakland.
I'd like to jump in here in terms of our action items of keeping this issue before the public. And that is, I went into 2 military air shows now, the one at Miramar and San Diego, and also one in Salinas. They were different in ways. Notably, the one in San Diego had a strong military presence, but because of the government shutdown, they weren't present in Salinas. However, what I observed was really an out and out Disneyland of war. You see children climbing up in tanks. You see young people holding big weapons. They're selling toys there of the Blue Angels jets for kids to sleep with, stuffed toys. I remember teddy bears. Things have changed. So, it's having a major impact on our youth. Notably, I saw that there were a very, very high percentage of youth from the local high schools that were volunteering for the air shows. They started out right at the gate, collecting tickets. They were gathering up trash. And then all of the different specialties throughout the show, they were charging more and they were checking that. They were very, very happy about it. But all of this in a very militaristic context. So, what I found my own role to be there was to go ahead and just talk to people. I mean, sometimes I didn't finish my conversations, I'd move along depending on how people related to it. But, people having a lot of good time there. Everybody's having a lot of fun. And I was able to speak to some media people here and at the Salinas one anyway. And I talked to them about this being a very sided view of what goes on in the military. And of course, I know that intimately, being a widow of a Vietnam veteran and the suffering that he went through his entire life. So these children are being exposed and encouraged to come in when they don't really have the mental resources to understand what it would mean for them to join the military. So all of us in our day-to-day conversations can bring these things out if we choose to do so.
So
Does anybody have any questions? I think we should wrap this up rather
Cindy,
soon, but if you have questions, this is the opportunity to get our experts here. We've got 4 of them, plus Gregory.
so if I could go through the weekend again. So Friday at the Veterans Building, we're having
Yeah,
a
sure.
having a teach-in.
Go ahead, Paul, go.
I am going ahead. I am talking. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Saturday and Sunday during the air shows from 1 to 3, we're going to be, some of us will be at the Ferry Building passing out leaflets and Peace in Our Time. I'm sorry. What's
Peace and
Peace and
Planet News.
News. Thank you. And some of us will be at the marina where there will be some of the military stuff. Presumably there'll be some tanks and stuff there. I'm not sure. And that's Saturday and Sunday from 1 to 3. And then Monday at the Grand Lake Theater, the movie that Gary was talking about, the World's Worst Enemy, that was by Michael Prasner and his wife, will be showing. And we showed that at the VFP convention in July, and it's really quite an extraordinary movie. They've really done a fine job of laying out a bunch of stuff. So I'm done.
Gary, did you want to say anything more about NOMAS?
No MOS, no military air shows. It's a way to get climate people awake about the military's role in this whole mess we're all in. Like Greg mentioned, a lot of climate people don't see that connection because they're preoccupied, and rightly so, with what's in front of them locally. But we've got to think about this globally as well, especially up in the Bay Area like San Diego. There are remnants of military bases throughout the counties, and there are residues of environmental damage, therefore, and we have to get climate people involved and out of their silos and aware of this issue. They're both existential threats. And even though we don't hear about it as much as we used to because of the active wars, the climate crisis is only increasing in severity. I see a couple hands up.
Lucy?
Okay, what is it all display, or do they have a message behind their air shows that we could counter? Are they saying anything about why they're doing this?
Well, I'll add one thing is that the only military folks that were at Salinas were the recruiters, and they were doing this gratis. Of course, they get paid by the scalp. So, that they probably wouldn't lose money even if they eventually don't get paid. So they were there. So it is a big recruiting thing.
Okay,
But it would
That's
be
where
Go ahead.
their budget is.
yeah,
again,
I
the
just wonder
military
what
air
their
show.
message is. Are they giving a message or is it just lots of exciting things going on?
Well, the message is promoting the military. The message is join the military. Isn't this cool? And the message from Evie Martin's film is, this is what the United States wants us to do. They want us
Sure.
to, expend our youth. And at the class we had yesterday, Vince had a good comment about, capitalism. We're taking the riches now and we're leaving all the nasty stuff for the generations to come, like the folks that were in the classroom. Vince, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that I don't think I do. This environment that we're in right now, this building and this room, my hearing does not work great and it's worse here. So I'm just going to listen and read the subtitles basically.
Yeah, we apologize.
The venue that we wanted to pick was closed at 5 o'clock, so we had to improvise and go to the pizza shop across the street, get a slice.
So then they have music, so it's like the background music.
We have to leave soon because there's going to be live music in here very soon.
Okay. Moji,
Ruth?
you have a question?
live interviews. So.
Ruth has her hand up, and then Moji.
Ruth, go
Yes,
ahead.
I was just going to mention that the Paris agreement made it optional to count what pollution goes with war.
Absolutely.
And so we pretend, I mean, the government pretends that we're making progress in the right the direction when actually we're not. And I was just appalled when I heard that, because I've said, well, hey, for everything that you would think that diplomacy would be utmost. I mean, it was like, and Biden didn't even try with Ukraine. It's like it was ridiculous. But every aspect of war is bad. The production of it is the wrong direction, and the use of it, and then the rebuilding after what they destroy. It's terrible.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Ruth.
Ruth.
That's really appropriate. And that's something that I'm so grateful to you, JEC, for us going ahead and developing this task force on peace, equity, and climate. I mean, we've really got our work cut out for us. I think the air shows each one costs $1 million and puts out 655 metric tons of CO2. And the noise, I don't know how many of you have been subjected to the noise, but it's deadening and it covers whole communities. So this has been a wonderful opportunity for me to learn kind of boots on the ground in some of these areas. And I just appreciate the opportunity to do this with all of our folks at VFP, especially Jim, who's been mostly planned it, and that's kind of initiated also by Gary. And so it's giving us an opportunity to have the civilians on the ground rethink things when we're protesting outside of one of these military air shows. They're not used to that. And we did get a lot of horn honkings and a lot of support. So it was really wonderful. Does anybody else have any questions?
Moji has a question.
Hi, does it have to be a question?
No, comment.
Okay, thank you. First of all, hello to fellow Veterans for Peacers. I am an associate member and I'm from Iran, and I'm the founder of Peace-Seeking Iranian Veterans. I'm in Boulder, Colorado, and I'm a retired psychologist and a full-time intersectional activist. Climate change, peace, democracy, human rights, all of these are intersectionally connected. And so part of what we are seeing, and we've been seeing, I've seen it since I was an undergrad in, late 1970s, is normalization of violence. Violence is being normalized in so many different subtle and overt ways that so that we take it for granted that this is how the world is. And then when they sell toys to little boys so that they can sleep with a gun, that's called normalizing evil, as Hannah Arendt, the Holocaust surviving philosopher, referred to it as banality of evil, normalizing evil. So part of what I'm doing, since Gary mentioned how we can get climate change people to pay attention because they are so appropriately laser focused. Over the decades, I have been talking with fellow climate change and environmental activists. And so eventually I realized this is a systemic issue that requires a systemic solution, hence intersectional circles or chambers of compassion, in contrast with chambers of commerce. Corporations collectively and systemically collaborate, in chambers of commerce, but we, as various tribes, silos of civil society activism, we are so focused on our own very important issues, and so that we don't understand or sufficiently pay attention to the need for intersectional collaboration across civil society causes. So I'll put in the chat the link to the intersectional circles and my background, my mini bio. And by the way, this is a project that has been endorsed by Noam Chomsky and Cornel West and Erica Chenoweth and Richard Falk, among others. We really need, especially with somebody in the White House that is honest enough to call the Department of Defense the Department of War. I mean, that's called normalizing evil.
Yep.
And so anyhow, I don't want to talk too much. I'll put in the chat the link. And if we could, I mean, right now we have 3 chambers of compassion. And I would like these.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Okay.
I think as we go forward in this particular time, when we recognize what's going on inside of this nation and outside of this nation, in terms of the tariffs, in terms of trade, in terms of all of those things that are manipulating other countries to do the bidding of the United States, and what is happening here under this administration with the military being turned on civilians in our own communities, we really need to recall the fact that the U.S. military is the enforcer of what's going on around the planet to get these other countries and our own population now to comply. So we've really got our hands full, and there's a lot for us all to think about. And I think if we need to go here pretty soon, but if anybody has one last question, we'll have that. Okay. I guess not. Well, thank you, Terry. Thank you, Sally. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you, Paul, Moji.
Thank you.
Gary, everybody. Gregory. Thank you for joining us. Take care. Be well.
Bye.
Take care, you all. Thanks for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Night all.
Moji, I'm going to contact you next week, okay?
Okay, well, I would love that. Please do.
I cut and pasted your message, so I've got
Okay.
your information.
Where are you at, Gary?
I'm in San Diego.
San Diego? Okay, I'm in Boulder, Colorado, as the message says. And I would love to have a Chamber of Compassion in San Diego.
Okay, I'll talk to you later. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Well, looks like everybody's gone. Everybody's gone.
There was
Okay.
a sign up in the chat. I don't know if people knew it was there, but there's a way to sign up for one of those things.
Okay. Well, this went better than I thought it might because of the cancellation of the Blue Angels.
Yeah, I didn't understand why Canada and South America were sending something. That didn't make any sense to me.
So we're scared up and spend more money on our military?
I don't know.
Probably because they can, huh?
Well,
You gotta keep busy and
they're
spend
going
more
to
money so
participate.
that they can, request more, right? Isn't it ever growing?
Probably. Well,
Okay.
well,
Well, should we say
we should
goodnight?
we should see that movie somehow.
Yeah. Well, we'll probably get a chance.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna
Terry, while
sign.
you're there, I just wanted, and Gregory, I think we should have another meeting on the conference. We've lost the chance at funding for the September one, so it's now March, the end of March. So if we need funding, I don't even know that we get word in time to do anything in July. I think we're talking about further along than that.
Yeah.
Anyway, just my 2 cents.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna sign us off. Thank you, everybody. Good to see you
This was
again,
interesting,
Ruth, Lucy.
but I heard some good things too, and maybe we can show the movie around here too. I'll have to check with some people that I know that are, well, there's a UU group and the Green Party. It's like, ought to be interested in helping to support that. But then sometimes people ought to and don't. We'll see. But
Yeah,
I'm glad to hear about it, because I know Abby Martin does really good work.
yeah, it sounded very good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm going to leave now.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.